Hi guys, Togri here with a new video. In this video, I'm going to make some people mad, but I truly believe that there are a few things that TBC Classic could learn from Cataclysm. From Cataclysm Classic, not Cataclysm, but Cataclysm Classic. And I'm going to make people mad, but that's okay, because I know I'm right. So, the few things that TBC Classic could learn are very simple. Arena. Have no arena teams, please. So this is a fresh tune. Like literally, I have leveled it up yesterday, and I think having no teams makes it way more enjoyable than making a team, inviting people, not knowing if tomorrow you're going to get kicked from the team for some reason, and then go back into creating another team or like joining another team and go back to 0 rating. That kind of sucks. They already removed it in RAF, but I truly believe, like in RAF Classic, but I truly believe if they don't do that in TBC Classic, it kind of sucks. Like that's something I really be pestering it about. Another thing they could learn from Cataclysm Classic, and that's something I already told multiple times, arena points suck. So how does arena points work? Every single time you have people asking like, how many arena points I'm going to win this week? How arena calculated? No. No need for that complicated system that is actually really not complicated but really bad. Arena points are points that you get for having a minimum of 10 matches done in a week. And every Wednesday in EU or Tuesday on NA, you get your points from the week. And the points from the week is a set amount. Doesn't matter if you do 100 games, 1000 games, 50 games. You just need 10 games and that's it. Like there is no more that you can grind. The only thing that factors in the amount of points you get is your rating and on what brackets you did it. If you did it in 5s, you would gain more points based on your rating. So if you have 2k rating 5s, 2k rating 3s, 2k rating in 2v2, it would take the calculation around 5v5. But that aside, 2v2, you get the points from your rating. So it means that it is a rich get richer system where if you have 2k rating, you would get more points based on the same amount of matches basically than someone that has 100 MMR, for example, CR, whatever it is, like the arena points. And you cannot catch up. So it means that if you have missed 3 weeks, you're not going to be able to gain the 3 weeks of arena points till today. If you're spamming arenas, you want to come back and you want to like catch up everyone, it is not possible. That is arena points. That's you're going to be being seen on the private servers on Warming, for example, which I'm playing. So it is fun, but it sucks that it is arena points, but it is fun. And it was like this in TBC Classic, it was like this in RAF Classic, and it is not like this in Cataclysm because they actually decided to change it, like retail, to the system to Conquest. And that makes it way more enjoyable because you can actually catch up. So like me, for example, if I'm doing a 2v2, I win, I would get 250 Conquest right now. Or if I lose, I get 70 right now. I don't need to wait a week. I don't need to have like 10 games and then ghost the character because it is like pointless. I have no gear. I'm going to get wrecked anyways. No, you don't have that. That's a good system. And you can buy the gear very easily. You go in Stormwind or in Ogrimmar and you can buy the gear off a vendor. And it is still a grind. So it is not like a free gear system because every week, so normally on a normal season you would get a cap. So the cap is now 64,000, but obviously it is not 64,000 the cap the first week. The first week the cap is 1,500, for example. The second week is 3,000, and the cap is like augmenting. You cannot spend more points than what the cap is. So for example, if I have 64,000 points, if I do another arena, I will not be able to get more. Even if I spend the points, I cannot get more than 64,000 in a certain season. So that is the maximum reward that you can get. Every week you will get the cap, and you can like spare the points for a big item, or you can spend it, but you know that you cannot like go beyond the cap. So it's not possible to spend 2k points and then go to 2k again. No, you can only get 2k points, and how you spend it, that's how you see it, but you will not be able to get more. So every week you're going to be able to get gear. It's not like you're going to speedrun your way to the best gear possible. So a PvEer is not going to be able to like grind that. But it is fantastic because I can spend anything I want with the conquest I have. And I would get a conquest from random BG, so the daily for example. I would get conquest from like 2v2, 3v3 or RBGs. RBGs is 10v10, playing with your friends or your guild or whatever, or like nobodies or like people that you do not know. And literally winning or losing, you would get points. So that's a system that TBC needs to have, like point blank. There is no reason to not have that. Another thing that they need is make honor being able to grind a bit better. So in TBC, it is not uncommon that a piece can be 15,000, right? 15,000 is a lot, and then you have marks as well. Now, do you want to keep the grind as is? That's something that the community can decide, I would say. For me, it would make sense to like be a lower honor point count, but at the end it is the same, I think, amount of time you need to grind for one piece. So I think it doesn't matter. So that's okay to keep. But what I would like to see is something PvE wise. So as you know, since RAF Classic, they have introduced those extra difficulties, which are the named Rune Protocol. That's how it's called. And now in Cataclysm, it is Elemental Rune Protocol. And it is Elemental Rune Protocol Twilight you can do right now to get the last tier items. So for example, those are the vendors. You have the Valor one, you have the Justice one, you have a Justice trade goods, so you could also buy honor with those Justice points. And you have the Fissure Stone fragments, so those are from the previous season, and this is from the current season. You can buy tier from previous tier, and you can buy from 2 tiers ago, from 1 tier ago, not from current tier. But for example here, you can buy trinkets that are very good, or you can buy weapons that are very good for 100 obsidian fragments, which are easy to grind. In a day you can do that if you have time, or in a week if you're playing like here and there. So it's fine, I like that. And I like the fact that heroics are very boring at one point. At one point, heroics, you can spam it, it's very boring to do. But Elemental Rune Twilight, it is kind of challenging, depending on your gear, and at one point it becomes a bit easier, obviously. But it is still like mechanics where if you don't pay attention, you get like one-shotted or you die, right? So I find it quite enjoyable to do. And it makes it very easy to gear because you get Valor points, you get Justice points for every single boss, and you would get Obsidian fragments for also every single boss, plus also completion of the whole dungeon. And that's something they could do for TBC as well. So to circle back, because people, like, again, I think I'm going to make people mad here from this point out. You have Karazhan first year, right? That is first year of TBC. What they can do first year, just keep it as is. You don't have those Elemental Rune Twilight Protocol, whatever it's going to be called for. Whatever it's going to be called for TBC. Like you could do Fell Rune Protocol, I don't know, because it's TBC. And the first year you don't do anything, but once SCC is out, for example, and TK, SCC and TK, you can really already introduce a Fell Rune Protocol, blah blah blah, and you would get the gear from Karazhan. Not for free, because you need to still grind it, but you go in with your group, because there is no group finder in how it's called in TBC, and I'm not really for it. There will be no group finder like a group finder you have in Cataclysm. You go in with your group, you decide, okay, let's take up a notch. You talk to a stone, and you can start the Rune Protocol, and with that you get the better gear, and the better gear is from previous tier. So previous tier would give you, for example, so let's say I'm TBC. You have obviously your Karazhan raid, so you have Karazhan, and that is a gear that you would get. For example, let's say you're going to the bosses, right? Let's say you have like Gorhal. Gorhal is an item level 125. That is like gear you can buy with the tokens, right? So the tokens that you get from every single boss. And if you're doing, for example, Serpent Shrine Cavern, it's better gear. How better, how much? It is still substantial enough to say that it is better gear. It's 141. But if you're doing, for example, Shattered Halls, you have Heroic, you have the Rune Protocol here beneath, and it would have, like, on the end boss, a chance on loot for Gorhal, for example. And every single boss will give you the token, for example, this one, the Obsidian Fragment, or like Fell Fragment, you can call it, because it's TBC, and you can then spend that fragment for example, the gear that you would get in Karazhan. So that would eliminate, for example, the need. So that's where people are going to be mad. It eliminates the need to actually run previous tier dungeons. Does it suck? It depends. For me, it would not suck to have that, because I think it's better to be able to raid on current tier, and it will make dungeons still very alive. So the dungeon culture will be still there. People will still run dungeons daily with however people are available and able to do so. And that's what I find better, to be able to have dungeons being alive. And I'm a PvPer, but if I do PvE, I do like dungeons. I do like that the dungeons are still like able to be done on a difficult tier, but also being able to be fruitful gear-wise, that you're not doing it for just rep or for gold or for helping people, but you could also help yourself, for example, gear alts. That's a way you can do that. So you don't need GDKPs, because again, GDKPs would be nice to gear alts, but since it's gone, and that's a good thing that it's gone, then at least you have those dungeons that are still going to be very available. You cannot really carry people in it. That's not going to be able. Nobody's going to say, I can, as a tank, I can carry 4 people, pay me the amount of gold for that elemental rune protocol. For the Rune Protocol. That's not going to happen, because you cannot really carry those dungeons. It's really with raid mechanics where you get one-shotted if someone makes a mistake, DPS, healer, or tank. And if you enter the dungeon, you would get also a buff, whatever, to do a bit more damage, to have it a bit more fun. But it will be also interesting to do because you would get the gear. So it's and also those fragments, so you can actually buy gear from Karazhan. Again, it's still like a commitment. You're not going to do your Shattered Halls in 10 minutes, right? It's not going to happen. In Cataclysm, you can be very fast with the dungeons you're doing, because the dungeons are quite small. But in TBC, the dungeons are still like very massive, and it will still take a lot of time to actually complete them, but at least you would have something in return. In my opinion, it would be great, and that's something I really liked in Wrath, and I think they made it even better in Cataclysm. And they will be making it even better in Mists of Pandaria, because they are going to do Celestial Rune Protocols, where you would get the LFR raid tier gear that you would get from LFR. They removed LFR completely, no LFR for Mists of Pandaria, and they also don't have LFR in Cataclysm, but that aside, no LFR in Cataclysm, in Mists of Pandaria, which is looking for raid. That is not going to be happening, but you would get LFR tier gear, so it's still good gear from those dungeons. So it would still make dungeons very alive. People are still going to run dungeons. You will still have guilds saying, I'm looking for a full group to do all dungeons, like a routine, like a world tour kind of thing. How you did it in Wrath, you could do it right now also in Mists of Pandaria and Cataclysm as well. And that's something I would like to see in TBC. I think that is something that you could really learn from those Cataclysm servers, those soon-to-be Mists of Pandaria servers. Because I think those systems really nail what is the essential thing about, like, I think an MMORPG, being able to run dungeons and still be fruitful. Not really like, if you want to have a somewhat of a advanced feel of the dungeon, you can do those elemental runes, like those rune protocols, and have somewhat of a challenge and have fun with it, and also get gear from it. And some people are going to say, but those are very hard, whatever. That's not really true. It's not really hard to do those dungeons, but it is a learning curve because you need to learn those mechanics, but it is fun doing so. That's part of playing a game. You need to learn how to play the game and get better at it. You don't play a game knowingly that you're not going to be improving on it. In my opinion, like I play a game with the mindset of I want to improve every single day. If I'm playing every single day, I want to improve every single day. I'm not going to stay at my noob level. I want to be better. And if mechanically I cannot be better, that's another issue. But I'm still going to be able to try to be better at my class, better at what I do, and be efficient at what I do. So that's my opinion. Again, would be nice, and what they could do as well with those dungeons is, like, for example, with the tokens that you would get, you can buy Terracons, for example, and that would bring the price on below. That's an idea that you could do. You could buy maybe mats from it. It would make the economy a lot lower than it is right now. And please ban boosts, that, like boosters, like mage boosting, those summoning things, like summoning network. I think if you ban all those things, anniversary would be a bit better in my opinion. But I know it's a lot of convenience. A lot of people are like convenient about it, but it would be nice to have it completely banned. No boosting, no summoning networks. At least the networks, right? You can summon and get paid for it, but like have a full network on like every single place in the world, that's a bit too much. It's a bit more of a bot thing. I don't think like a true player has like 25 accounts. Like no, 4 accounts, but anyways, 4 accounts with 25 people like around the world. A lot of them are just bots or people are selling gold. Anyways, that's my little video about what TBC could learn from Cataclysm servers, Cataclysm Classic. People are going to be mad because arena points, arena teams, emblematic for TBC, no changes kind of thing. People are going to be mad that I propose a more difficult tier than heroic for dungeons with also gear from previous tier. It is what it is. I think it's a fantastic way to actually gear up classes. I think it's also a fantastic way to gear up alts, fantastic way to actually come back to the game as well. If you're like missed a tier, at least you're not behind directly. You could just do dungeons and you would get back at your feet. And you don't need to drag like 9 other people doing Karazhan just to boost yourself into a somewhat okay gear set. I think it would be nice to have that. Yes, it would destroy kind of the TBC thing where you are running previous tier dungeons, but do you really need that if you have such a system where you can actually have dungeons being able to gear you? I think it would be more interesting for the community because in dungeons you tend to have more time to actually talk with people, where I think in raids it is like if you're doing a mistake and you keep on doing the mistake, you're going to get gone from that raid, while in dungeons it's less of a problem because even if you're gone, you can find a dungeon directly. Finding a raid with a raid ID the same as you is not going to happen, right? If you're getting kicked at the first boss is cleared, well, too bad. You need to wait a week from raiding. I think it's way more casual friendly what I'm proposing than anything related to only doing raids from previous tiers. That's my opinion. Again, I'm a PvPer. At the end, I'm going to PvP 90% of my time and do 10% of PvE just for the few items I want. But I'm thinking like more of I want to have servers being that much alive that I'm really shocked by the amount of people playing the game. I'm actually shocked about the amount of people playing Cataclysm as well because you have layers in Cataclysm servers for some reason. So people are playing, again, this version, Miss Pandaria or not. A lot of people are like very surprised about how fun it is. I was surprised. Kind of a regret that I haven't played more. Haven't played more of Cataclysm, I would say. But it's a great feeling that I have. So again, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.